Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the Cashmere Goat podcast. This is episode 31. Thank you for taking time to join us today. I'm Iris.
I'm Rachel.
Rachel's here again. Kristen, who's the shop owner, who many of you know, she couldn't be here today, and Rachel kindly said she would step in. So yay. Oh, we've got lots of show and tell and lots of things to update you on, but I think the first thing is that we're wearing the same sweater. We are wearing the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. It's one of those magical patterns that is beautiful in lots of fibers, beautiful at lots of yarn weights, written for lots of sizes.
Knits up really quickly.
It has just this nice, you can't see it as much on mine, but Rachel, this is some beautiful just little texture and a little lace at the neck.
Yeah, not too much, very doable.
Very doable even for a lace hater like me.
And
And options for sleeves. I actually have a stitch marker here because I have a little snag here and I wanted to consult few fiber types about what might be my good option for fixing that. But yeah, so different sleeve options and different length options, different neck options, so much room for customization.
yeah, this was my first time doing a longer sleeve. I've got a couple short sleeve versions, but and it's not, super long sleeve, but I actually like yours, so I might unpick mine and do a couple of decreases and an I-cord so it's a little, gathered. And
there was this little fussy bit that I remember, I didn't love it, but I like the finished look because I think you're short rowing a bit with my sleeve and then your I-cord bind off. So if you look at the sleeve, there's like a little dip down, which actually is pretty comfortable.
yeah, it tends to do that anyway with wear.
Yes.
Because of your elbow joint, so
Being
why
movable.
Why not go with it? Yeah.
And mine is in Plush Single by On the Round. This is the Blue Mussel color, but I held it together with a strand of the Cashmere Dreams. It's the lace weight cashmere we have for a little extra plush softness and just to sort of mellow out the variation a little bit.
Oh, well, mine is the, if anybody watched the last episode I was in, it is the Sonata in magenta that was just a little magenta twinkle in my eye back then, and now it's a full-grown sweater.
Full-grown sweater.
Yeah.
And so, it's just, I love it. I love it in that yarn. The cotton and silk just plays so well and captures the light so beautifully.
Yeah, it has a nice, subtle tonal quality. It's not just a flat base, and I think it was a great fit for this pattern. It was fun to work with. I knit with it all summer, and it wasn't too hot in the middle of summer as you get, wool is not really my favorite
Summertime
fiber in the
fiber.
summer. So it was good.
Do you remember the needle size you used?
I sized down to a 9. I think the pattern calls for a 10, but I wanted it a little bit less open. The first fingering weight when I knit it's like an open mesh, and I like that for certain outfits or occasions, but I wanted this one to be a little bit more densely knit, so just one needle size down.
The one thought that I had, I started a second one, unfinished object, in the closet right now, and I think that I made a note to myself on the second one I made to do a provisional cast on at the neck. And the reason is because depending, the pattern is so flexible and so works so well with so many different types of yarns that I felt like the provisional cast on at the neck would help me decide what kind of neck finishing I wanted at the end, because trying to figure that out at the beginning, if you're knitting with a denser yarn, a drapier yarn, a stretchier yarn, so that's my one thing that I think I'm gonna do, because I kept ripping out the neck, because I would get it and it was like, this is gonna be massive or fall off my shoulder. So that's my thought.
And I like that look, so I go with it.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
So I like my neck a little more cozy. Yeah. Okay, well, so we're wearing those things. We're knitting lots of things. And we have dreams about what we're knitting next, and we have some show and tells. So let's see, do you want to start with your project that you're knitting?
Let's see, which one?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Who's up first?
So the last time I had just started I had just cast on this Bifurca pullover by Teddy Lutzak. And I was only at like the neckline and just starting the color work.
Hold it up a little closer even.
So now it's, you know, sweater shaped and starting on the sleeves. And I wish I had gone with one size larger, because the yarn I'm using knits up more like a sport weight, and I was thinking it would be more of a DK. But that's fine. It'll just be a slightly different fit than I was expecting, but I will still wear it with all of my
beautiful dresses.
My dresses and stuff. And it's a beautiful pattern, and it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, because the construction is so different. But it was very well explained, and it went smoothly. So, phew. And let's see, for SOCKTOBER. I'm knitting a pair of Lars socks.
We're so in love with the Lars motif that Rachel designed.
So it's just the Tin Can Knits rye sock pattern, but I'm just forgoing the garter stitch detail and adding in the color work. But
in vintage,
Barocco vintage, which is a great yarn. I love it. I use it all the time.
I love your color combos.
Thanks. It's, you know,
it's
muted and dark.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, so it wasn't so bad. I'm not a sock knitter usually, but it's knitting up really fast, and the pattern is really easy to follow. Not a lot to it, so it's perfect.
And you're on second sock.
I'm on my second sock. I'm about halfway, a third of the way through.
So good.
I'm through the goat part.
Goat is great.
I don't know.
Okay, that's it for you.
Continue?
Or you have more?
Well,
more knitting.
I have aspirational.
Oh, let's do projects, then we'll go aspirational. Okay. Well, I finished, as Rachel did, I finished my SOCKTOBER sock, which you saw me knitting, the wild and crazy color opportunity with the nutty brioche heel, which actually I think might hold up pretty well. It's very squishy, but it's double layer, so it should be fine. And I am so excited that I got to my second sock after having kind of a sad moment where I pulled out my needles in an inopportune time and could not figure out how to pick up, because with this nutty design, you're kind of simultaneously joining the top foot to the bottom foot as you're growing the bottom foot. So at a really bad time, I happened to pull my knitting out, and then I was like, oh, and it had just like laddered right back, and I just okay. So, but I'm back in business. It goes pretty fast, and I'm at my toe.
Wow.
So that's fun, and I'll save probably the end of that for Wednesday night when we meet with the remote SOCKTOBER folks, or maybe Sunday when we have our in-person meetups. We're kind of coming to the close here with SOCKTOBER, but people have been having so much fun, and I love it when I get emails from people who are saying like, I finally came back to a sock that's been on my needles for 3 years, and this motivated me to get it done, and then they have a pair that they can wear.
Yeah.
So we get those, and we've had some newer sock knitters who are finding some success. And the problem now is that I've just learned about so many new sock patterns that I want to knit all of them. And we this year did this crowdsourcing thing where we got people's recommendations for their favorite socks, and I've been hard at work curating Ravelry bundles organized by kind of type. So we have 2 options for vanilla bundles, toe up and top down. We have textured sock, and then this week I think I'm going to put together the colorwork sock recommendations.
Yep.
There's some beautiful ones there, and I like just want to keep casting on, but I know that I have like some holiday knitting that I need to start thinking about, and I'm going to show you some things, but I don't think the person watches the podcast, so that's fine. This is some yarn that I don't think you would have seen. This is the beautiful silk mohair blend, dyed by Karen Grover of Seven Sisters Arts. It's like a cloud, and we don't carry it yet, although I think at the last time we were talking about maybe like potentially we would. But so this is a pattern that's somewhat loosely based on something that one of our remote goats mentioned in our finish along this summer, and it was one of those knits that she's returned to a lot, and it's basically a really simple shawl that's flat on the bottom and then just gradually grows out. And so there's a large size which she's made multiples of, and she said she like loves it in a lace weight because it's like just the easiest potato chip knitting ever. Like slip one, knit front and back or something, knit across, cast, and so it just goes easily. And she said it was a great like commuting. She was commuting by train.
Nice. Yeah.
And she's knit a lot of them because they go with everything. You can squish it down. She says it's a great travel accessory because you can just crunch this thing up and just shove it in the bottom of your bag.
And the yarn is so pretty that you don't need any other wow factors. It's just the yarn itself is enough.
So the person I'm knitting it for is a little bit more of a petite person, so I didn't go for the giant one. So 1 skein of this should do it. And actually the remote goats, when we were conversing about this pattern, which I will link in the show notes, Bateau Mouche, I think I forgot to say, Bateau Mouche. I think it's an Issachar pattern, but they were recommending Silk Paca by Malabrigo, which we have, and Rachel's going to show you that in a second. And my last thing that I have to show you that's like something I just finished is I took Miranda's Cup Cozy workshop. So this was a Colorwork 101 class that we offered here for the first time, and I asked to jump in. And I knit a couple before, which you saw on the podcast, but this is from the Camping Doodle Deck, and I just think it is so cute, and I had stash yarn that I could use, and it really does look like a bonfire. This was just like the best yarn ever, and I was like, oh, your bonfire yarn. And I pulled some doodle decks. We'll show you some of the new autumn themed ones. The camping one is in there. But let's talk aspirational knitting next.
Okay. Well, at the goat's birthday party, we had pop-up shops from Rachel from On the Round and Karen from Seven Sisters. And Karen was knitting up a beautiful autumn alpine sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and I fell in love, so I had to buy this color, which I had never seen before. It's called Rock Olive.
You really can see it actually on the lighting's perfect.
It shows up nicely.
Yep.
And the marsh, of course, is a favorite as a contrast color for the alpine bloom, autumn alpine. So that one is going to have to happen.
And this is what weight?
This is the DK weight. The Klima?
Okay.
Klima?
So soft, so beautiful.
Yeah.
So squishy and
very
bouncy.
Squishy, bouncy. It'll have nice definition in the color work. Hers is gorgeous.
And when she was here, she had it like it was still on the needles, but it was on the mannequin with needles, which was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And then the second aspirational project is this is Rachel from On the Round's new colorway, Season of the Witch, which, I mean, it's, how could I pass it up.
We're all swooning.
It's just, the most beautiful combination of like the deep, dark, spooky autumn colors. And I'm going to hold it double with the Silk Paca from Malabrigo in this olive color, which is not like a flat green. It's got like some golden tones to it and some deeper greens. It's just,
I think it's like
fantastic.
70 baby alpaca, 30 silk maybe.
Yes.
So that's the one that you could also use for that bateau mouche, which I'm making.
Yeah.
That's going to be so good.
So this is going to be the Rota cardigan from Anna Sjösvard.
Yes.
And forgive my poor Swedish pronunciation, but she has a bunch of great patterns, and this will be my first of her patterns that I'll be knitting, but I'm so excited. It's just the perfect colors for me.
So beautifully earthy. I feel like Season of the Witch is one of the new colors that is like friendly to
everybody.
Yeah. You could pull out browns, golds, purples, blues. I saw it next to Harbor, and it looked great with that sort of deeper teal. I mean, it's so special.
Yeah, you could pair it with anything basically. Yeah.
Miranda and I were texting with another goat staffer last night who was like, I need to figure out what I'm doing with my Season of the Witch. Help me figure out like what pattern. And so we were quickly doing our little Ravelry trolling, and we might have found a winner, but it's just beautiful. And I actually brought out, we have some Season of the Witch on the Plush Bulky yarn base, which is just a really other nice way to see this color come together.
No, I feel like it's just begging to be a Ramona.
Oh, Ramona. Ooh, yeah, so good.
Yep.
It's just luscious. And I brought over, we got a restock of On the Round, and this is one of Rachel's newer colors called Ophelia. And you can see there's some nice gold, like brighter blips here that could play nicely with glow, which we also have in the bulky. There's the kind of like foggy gray, but just these fun little purple bits, and it's just beautifully, beautifully soft there. Oh, I brought something that's like a flashback to an older time. You probably remember this from last year. This is my Crosswalk shawl by Stephen West, and I wore it to my mom's house and kind of knew as I was like packing for that trip that I was probably not going to come back with it. That's what happened, but I begged her to please send it back to me because this weekend I'm having my color theory class, and it's like kind of a fun one to talk about color with, so it's going to be a fun example. But Crosswalk, I have to say, like, sometimes I love Stephen West, as you know, but sometimes the pattern pictures are not my aesthetic, so I think it's always worthwhile to look at those projects on Ravelry. And I really liked how when I was seeing it in sort of more solid, less speckly colors, because the speckles are what he has for his pattern picture, I felt like you could really enjoy the texture so much more. And there's just so much like fun stuff going on. And it was one of those patterns that I loved because I love a pattern that becomes visually memorizable.
Yeah.
You can see it and know, oh right, now it's going to be this stitch, or oh, I'm a little off track. So it was one of those ones that even though yes, there was kind of some lacy bits at the top, it was very consistent and really enjoyable, and in some yarn that my family brought back from Amsterdam from Stephen and Penelope, which was very, very special. Let's see. Ooh, I know, spinning. It's spinning day today. It's Tuesday, so our spinners are going to be coming, and we've had such a nice group.
Yeah.
Rachel?
Yeah, we have a nice sort of core group, and then we have people who drop in and people we recruit from just, you know, shopping around the store. They stop and they're, you know, fascinated and want to know more about it. And I always bring extra spindles and a little extra fluff. So If people want to try it, they're welcome to, and I think we've reined in a few people.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I've been working on.
It is really amazing, you know, when people come into the shop and it's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's not so, we kind of take it for granted. We live in a this world that we're lucky to be a part of. We have this around us, and people are from all over the country, like, never seen anybody spinning before.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to watch. I remember going to like Common Ground Fair and stuff when I was younger, and just being in awe of like the magic of spinning, and thinking, oh, I'll never be able to do that. And you know, it's not that hard. Mm-hmm. It's once you get the muscle memory down, it's just like anything else. Mm. But so this is what I'm working on right now. It's a 50-50 blend of yak and silk, and it is the softest, most like liquid silver thing.
Silver.
Oh.
Like, I can barely feel it in my hand.
It's just, I mean, even if I never do anything with the yarn, just spinning it is so like therapeutic. It's just like a tactile dream. It's
Hold
wonderful.
it up a little closer. Yeah.
So I don't know if it can focus very well, but
My face is in it.
nope. Anyway, it's just this lovely like warm taupe silver.
Mm-hmm.
The silk catches the light, so it's
So pretty.
very pretty. And I have a pound of it that I'm spinning up to go with the previous pound that I spun up, and I will be buried with it maybe.
So will it be it will be plied?
Yep.
And what yarn weight do you think it will be?
The mile that I have plied so far, I have a mile of 2-ply, or a little more actually. It is what I think it would be a lace weight, or maybe a light fingering. And I don't often I don't often knit with that weight. So I'm not sure what exactly I'll do with it, because I always tend to spin really thin, and I like to knit with a more substantial yarn. So I might end up just holding it double, or the original plan was to weave a really nice light gauzy wrap with it. So, and now that I've got a second pound to work on, I'll do both.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was
Yeah.
asking Rachel, like, because people so fascinated, and, you know, will ask questions, and you know, thinking about what are some of the, maybe like a common question that you get when you're spinning.
Yeah, so the most common issue people have, I think, is not being able to get their fiber to draft properly, and like sort of struggling and fighting with it. And especially if you're using a drop spindle, you feel like you've got this time constraint until like you lose the spin that you've put into your spindle, and it starts unwinding, and then, you know, you lose the twist and it drops to the floor, and you're like, why can't I do this? And so I'd say the most important thing is to just, you can either pre-draft a little bit. So
And drafting means like
you're just pulling out like a half a staple length at a time, just to get it a little bit thinner, make sure it's not tangled on itself before you start spinning and you feel like panicked, like, oh no, I'm gonna drop it. And
so just like taking it from the more condensed part of that.
Yeah. So you can split it if you're using like a roving or like prepared top. You can split it in half. You can split it in quarters to get it so it's not like all bunched up and compacted and not wanting to slide past itself. And the other really important
Hold it up
thing,
and do the slidey part, because that's so cool.
the other important thing is to like check your staple length. And so this is, you know, maybe 6-7 inches staple length. And so as you're spinning, you're going to want to hold it not like right up here, because then it can't slide past itself. You need to hold it very loosely and sort of back behind the staple length, so it has room to slide past itself.
Got it.
And then, yeah, and then it slides easily and drafts easily.
And literally looks like you're spinning cobwebs.
Yeah.
Like that is what it looks like.
I'm down with that. Yeah, it's definitely a me thing.
Yeah.
So that would be like the most important thing is don't get tensed up and put a death grip on your fiber, because it will not draft. And make sure to check your staple length. And if it's not sliding, hold it back another inch or two and test it and then start spinning. So that's
Little spinning tip from
that's
Rachel. Thank you.
Ooh,
yeah,
like
the cobwebs are just okay, I'm checking my little notes to myself. I mentioned just really briefly, but I just feel like I have to go back to it. Miranda did such a good job with the color work class. It was great. We had a sweet group, and she prepared such an incredible handout for that class too. I know she's planning on running it again.
Good. Yeah, there's a lot of interest.
A lot of interest, and Kristen and I were talking and agreed that we could plant a little seed, a little tiny teaser for our winter knit-along, the January, February knit-along. Usually we don't do any, we keep it strictly secret until we get a little closer. We'll announce it in December officially, but what I can tell you now is that it will have some color work in it. So if you're thinking about joining us for that and you haven't done any color work yet, you might keep your eye out for another session of the Cup Cozy class. I don't think we have any dates yet, but they will be coming soon. So, yay! And the other thing I was going to say too is, so Socktober's wrapping up, but you know, with our knit-alongs, we meet on Sundays in the shop, we meet on Wednesdays on Zoom, and both of those groups are like, well, can we continue to come and meet? And we decided that we would do that through November and December. We don't have anything sort of super clever yet for what we're gonna call it, but Rachel suggested Holiday Frenzy Knit-Along. Or it could be Choose Your Own Adventure. You could think of it as a finish along for whatever you have. And we know that sometimes the pressure and stress of holiday knitting can get to you. Nice to have a little time to carve out for some of those projects.
Just fiber therapy.
Meetups through November and December. That's another really good one. See, good idea. So we'll call it something, but it would be very casual and as we've been doing. So if you subscribe to the newsletter already, you'll get some of those details. If you don't subscribe to the newsletter, you could do that at our website.
Did you want to mention the Magic Loop class?
Oh, yes. That's going to be coming up. That was actually...
Well, yeah. I mean, whenever people come in and they're looking to do their first hat or first sweater, and then they're seeing on the patterns that it calls for like 3 different sets of needles, we always suggest that people give Magic Loop a try, because then you don't have to switch from, you know, a short needle to a longer needle and then back to double pointed needles, because it gets expensive and it gets kind of daunting, like the thought of having to change needles so frequently throughout a pattern if you're just starting out. So Magic Loop is really, and people seem like terrified of the idea of it, and it's really not that scary. And I think with just like a quick demonstration, and as soon as you try it yourself, I think you'll see that it's really pretty straightforward and economical. And and then all you ever really need is a super long set of needles, and you can knit any circumference you want.
So we're going to be offering that November 4th. It's a Magic Loop mini class on a Monday. And so it's in person at the shop, and you can sign up for that. I'll put a link down below. But just like a 45-minute kind of quick, get people like casted on, organized, do a little practice, do any troubleshooting if we need to.
Maybe practice your color work and do another little cup cozy. Be like a perfect blending of new skills. yeah, my friend Kate taught me how to do it way back when, and I was like, no, it looks too complicated, and she's like, no, you can do it. And it was super simple, and I will always be grateful for that little nudge.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And I'm putting the finishing touches on that color work class or color theory class for this weekend.
Right.
So that's Sunday, and having fun making a handout for that. It's going to be a fun little blend.
And
Rachel's coming.
Yeah, that's always the most fun part, is like helping people choose colors and like seeing which colors play nicely together.
And people get really overwhelmed, and so hopefully after this you'll have a little bit of language to talk about color with, and we're going to do some fun little explorations with all the color we have in the shop too, which is fun. I think that might be it for today. We covered a lot of ground. We talked about a lot of yarn per usual. If you liked the video, you can give it a thumbs up. You can leave us a comment. Don't forget to follow or subscribe. And we appreciate you being here with us. Yeah, so thank you and happy making. Bye.
Happy fall.
Happy fall. Happy, oh, the color, okay, last thing. Okay, I brought these over and we forgot to talk about them. Darn it. So I mentioned with my little cup cozy, that's the doodle deck, and I bought the camping deck, which we got this fall. Lots of great motifs, and Jamie Lomax of Pacific Knit Co. has designed all these motifs to be like it's a 24 stitch repeat, so it works great on her pattern for the cup cozy. She also has these great new patterns that are like fingerless gloves, hats, and you can mix and match all these patterns. But thinking about, you know, Halloween's coming up, so we have fantasy. Maybe you're thinking of like a cool you've got a Dungeons and Dragons lover in your life.
Yes.
We both do.
Or just dragons in general.
Dragons.
Yeah.
And then with more of the Halloween, and this is a little bit dark, but this is the Spellbound. So you can see there's some little hats, maybe crystal balls up here, spell books. And then the Haunted.
I love the Haunted.
Look at the ghost.
The ghosts, the moon.
So good. The spiders.
I love the spiders too. Yep.
Okay, now we're really done. Have a great day. Happy knitting. Thanks for joining us. Bye.